Nkechi and Chidi had crafted a life together that, while modest, was rich in love and shared dreams. They resided in a cozy sunlit apartment in the bustling heart of Lagos, a city alive with energy and ambition. Their home, filled with Chidi's vibrant paintings and Nkechi's collection of African literature, was a testament to their passions and aspirations. Nkechi taught literature at a local secondary school. She had a way of making each of her students feel seen and understood. Chidi, on the other hand, spent his days in the small studio that doubled as their living room, his canvases sprawled across every available surface. His art was a blend of traditional Nigerian themes and modernist techniques. Despite his talent, recognition, and financial success eluded him, but his dedication never wavered. He believed in the power of art to communicate, to change perspectives. Nkechi, ever supportive, believed unwaveringly in his vision, often spending evenings discussing his work and the stories behind each piece. Their relationship was a tapestry of deep conversations, laughter, and mutual respect, woven through with the threads of their shared history and individual dreams. Evenings were often spent together on their small balcony, overlooking the street's lively hustle as they shared meals and dreams alike. These moments underscored the depth of their connection. Each supported the other's aspirations with a sincerity that bound them tightly together. Yet beneath the surface of their harmonious life, financial pressures were mounting. Chidi's art rarely sold for more than the cost of the materials. The local art market was saturated, and without a significant gallery representation or patronage, his works remained largely unseen by those with the means to purchase them. This ongoing struggle cast a shadow over Chidi's vibrant spirit, as each rejection or past opportunity added layers of frustration and doubt about his future in the art world. Nkechi's salary as a schoolteacher was steady but modest, barely covering their basic expenses. The couple often found themselves dipping into their meager savings to cover additional costs like art supplies, unexpected bills, or repairs, slowly draining their financial reserves. The stress of their financial situation began to infiltrate even their most cherished moments. Discussions about the future, once filled with hopeful plans and laughter, were now tinged with a sense of urgency and concern. They reduced their spending drastically, cutting out small luxuries like weekend outings and even limiting their use of electricity to save on bills. Chidi took on odd jobs, assisting at local art workshops or teaching private lessons, but these were sporadic and did little to alleviate the growing financial burden. The constant worry gnawed at Nkechi, who felt a deep responsibility to support Chidi's dream, yet also feared for their future stability. Their situation demanded a solution, yet none seemed forthcoming until the night of the gala. The gala was a glittering affair, hosted in one of Lagos' most prestigious hotels, where the city's elite gathered under ornate chandeliers and amidst the refined splendor of classical music. It was a world away from the simple life Nkechi and Chidi knew. Dressed in their finest, which were modest yet elegant, they mingled with guests, with Chidi introducing his vibrant art to potential buyers. Among the attendees was Alexander Okafor, a figure of renown in both the business and the art community. With his sharp suit and commanding presence, he moved through the crowd. His interest piqued not just by the art, but also by the artists themselves. When his eyes met Chidi's work, he was genuinely impressed, but it was Nkechi's poise and understated beauty that truly captured his attention. As the evening progressed, Alexander approached the couple with a demeanor that mixed business acumen with a palpable charisma. He engaged Chidi in deep discussions about his artistic vision and the narratives behind his paintings, showing a genuine understanding that won Chidi's respect. However, his interactions with Nkechi were marked by a subtle charm. He complimented her insight and the support she provided Chidi, recognizing her integral role in his artistry. This acknowledgement made Nkechi feel seen in a world where she often felt out of place. As the night wore on, Alexander's interest seemed to deepen, culminating in a private conversation with the couple away from the bustling crowd. It was in a secluded alcove of the opulent ballroom that Alexander made his startling proposal. With a tone both serious and expectant, he offered 50 million naira for just one night with Nkechi. The amount was staggering, almost surreal in its magnitude, and it reverberated ominously between them. Chidi, initially shocked, felt a deep revulsion stirring within him, and Nkechi, equally appalled, recoiled at the proposition. Together, they refused Alexander, a united front in the face of such an indecent proposal. However, as the gala concluded and the couple returned to their modest apartment, the weight of their financial struggles began to press more heavily upon them. The vibrant paintings that adorned their walls, once sources of pride and joy, now stood as stark reminders of their fading dreams. Over the next few days, Chidi wrestled with a tumultuous mix of desperation and rationale. He found himself revisiting Alexander's proposal, turning it over in his mind like a puzzle with no satisfactory solution. The amount offered could clear their debts, fund his art, and secure a comfortable future. It could mean an end to their daily sacrifices and constant worry. Chidi, seeing no other way out and driven by a desire to provide for Nkechi, began to reconsider the offer, the allure of financial security clouding his initial moral clarity. One evening, as they sat under the dim light of their living room, Chidi broached the subject again. He spoke gently, his voice laden with a mix of fear and hope. He presented it not as a choice, but as a sacrifice for their future, emphasizing the temporary nature of the ordeal against the backdrop of a lifetime of security. Nkechi listened, her heart sinking with each word. She saw the desperation in Chidi's eyes, a reflection of the pressures that had slowly been eroding his spirit. Torn between her love for Chidi and her own deeply held values, Nkechi felt the weight of the decision bearing down on her. The night stretched long as they delved into a conversation filled with tears, doubts, and the harsh realities of their lives, each struggling with their conscience and their undeniable need for a way out of their financial predicament. As the night waned and their emotional discussion continued, Nkechi felt the inexorable pull of their dire financial need intertwining with Chidi's earnest pleas. With a heart burdened by resignation, she finally agreed to Alexander's proposal, feeling as though the walls of their cherished life were closing in on her. This decision began to alter the way she saw Chidi. Where once she saw a partner equally yoked in love and mutual respect, she now saw a man willing to compromise their deepest values for financial gain. Her love for him, though still strong, was now tinged with a sense of betrayal and a growing resentment. Nkechi's acquiescence marked not just a concession to their financial plight, but also the beginning of a profound emotional rift between them, one that silently questioned the very foundation on which their union had been built. On the agreed night, Nkechi, dressed in a simple yet elegant dress, is escorted by Mr. Okafor's driver to a luxurious hotel in Victoria Island. As she enters the opulent suite, her heart races with a mixture of apprehension and a surreal sense of detachment. She entered Alexander's world with trepidation, enveloped in luxury and attention she had never known. She finds Mr. Okafor waiting, his demeanor calm and composed, offering her a glass of wine to ease the tension. Nkechi, maintaining a composed exterior, accepts it, her hands barely trembling. Alexander was both respectful and enchanting, revealing layers of himself that were thoughtful and kind. As the night unfolded, Nkechi found herself unexpectedly moved by Alexander's genuineness and his understanding of her reluctance. Mr. Okafor keeps the conversation light and businesslike, discussing art and his travels, seemingly aware of the unspoken boundaries of this unusual and delicate situation. As the evening progresses, Nkechi finds herself surprisingly engaged in a discussion about African art, her passion making her momentarily forget the transactional nature of their meeting. As the evening unfolds in the luxurious suite, Mr. Okafor puts on some soft music, a classic high-life tune that fills the room with a nostalgic melody. He extends his hand to Nkechi, inviting her to dance. Reluctantly, she accepts, allowing herself to be led into a slow dance. While they dance, Mr. Okafor maintains a respectful distance, making small talk about the origins of the music and his favorite musicians. Nkechi finds herself momentarily lost in the rhythm. As the night unfolded, Nkechi found herself entangled in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The intimacy they shared was surprisingly profound, a mix of passion and vulnerability that she had never experienced before. Despite this unexpected intensity, a deep sense of shame lingered, tainting every moment. The opulent surroundings felt like a gilded cage, trapping her in an encounter that was both intensely pleasurable and deeply distressing. She felt a confusing blend of exhilaration and remorse as the reality of her choices weighed heavily on her conscience. The next morning, Nkechi leaves the hotel early, the dawn barely breaking. The drive back home is quiet, reflective, and laden with a complex blend of relief and foreboding. Her return to Chidi is marked by a silent embrace, a wordless acknowledgement of the ordeal they both mentally and emotionally endured, though apart. Returning home, Nkechi was changed. She felt a complex mix of guilt for her unexpected feelings and resentment towards Chidi for his insistence on the arrangement. Chidi, witnessing the emotional distance growing between them, was consumed by regret and jealousy, realizing too late the emotional cost of the financial gain. The experience left a lingering impact on Nkechi's psyche. She tried to immerse herself in her daily routine, but the memory of that night haunted her. She saw Chidi through a different lens, her love for him now shadowed by the resentment of having been pushed into such a situation. Their interactions became strained, every conversation a careful dance around the unresolved tension that simmered beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Chidi found himself engulfed in remorse, his art taking on a darker, more chaotic quality as it mirrored the turmoil within him. His burgeoning success, once the pinnacle of his dreams, now brought him little joy. Each accolade, each sale, instead of bringing satisfaction, only deepened his sense of guilt. He watched helplessly as the woman he loved drifted further away, each of his attempts to bridge the gap only highlighting the distance between them. He recognized with painful clarity that his pursuit of financial security had come at a significant emotional cost to both Nkechi and their relationship. The success he had once chased so fervently now seemed hollow, tainted by the memories of the sacrifice they had made. Over time, Nkechi and Alexander continued to see each other, initially under the pretense of discussing her community projects, which Alexander generously funded. Alexander's consistent support and genuine affection became a refuge for Nkechi. She felt appreciated and valued in ways she hadn't for a long time. Their connection deepened, built on genuine conversations and shared interests, and slowly, Nkechi fell in love with him. Alexander, who had been sincere in his feelings from the start, was patient and understanding, giving Nkechi the space she needed to reconcile her emotions. The sense of shame from that night slowly began to give way to a realization of her own desires and needs, ones that Alexander seemed uniquely positioned to fulfill. The final breaking point came during another heated argument with Chidi. His regret and guilt had morphed into bitterness, and Nkechi realized that their love had been irreparably damaged. She made the heart-wrenching decision to leave, not out of spite, but out of a need for her own emotional survival and happiness. Packing her belongings, Nkechi felt a mix of sorrow and relief, knowing that this was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Nkechi moved in with Alexander, finding solace in his unwavering support and affection. They began to build a life together, one rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Alexander's world offered her opportunities and experiences she had never dreamed possible, and slowly, the wounds of her past began to heal. Though the journey had been fraught with pain and difficult choices, Nkechi found a new sense of peace and fulfillment with Alexander. She looked forward to a future where she could truly be herself, unburdened by the shadows of her past. In Alexander's arms, she found the love and stability she had longed for, embracing the promise of a brighter tomorrow. For Chidi, Nkechi's departure was a devastating blow. His initial push for the agreement, driven by desperation and ambition, now haunted him with relentless clarity. As he watched Nkechi leave, he felt an overwhelming sense of loss and guilt. The woman he had once cherished was now a reminder of his gravest mistake. Each day without her amplified his regret, and the success he had once sought felt meaningless without Nkechi by his side. He was left to grapple with the consequences of his actions, knowing that his choices had cost him the love of his life. So, what are your thoughts? Chidi pressured his wife into a situation that ultimately led to her leaving him for a wealthier life with Alexander. Would you have pressured your wife like Chidi did? And if you were Nkechi, would you have made the sacrifice? Share your thoughts in the comments and let's discuss how this story resonated with you. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more intriguing stories. Thank you for watching.